Now the sun is just starting to climb up over the treetops, and it's gonna be a beautiful day, that's plain to see.
Welcome to Bill Dance Outdoors, America's most popular and longest-running TV fishing show.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.
You remember those old westerns where someone rode shotgun with the stagecoach driver? The guy riding shotgun was basically backup, insurance sort of for the road that offered that added punch. You know, if you think about it, jig trailers basically do the same thing. They ride shotgun with the jig to give added insurance that the job is going to get done. A bass jig's ultimate wingman has to be the trailer. It not only has the jig covered, but it also helps get the job done. There's no doubt about it, bass jigs are among the most versatile of all fishing lures. You can swim them, pitch them, hop them, jig them. They catch fish from a variety of locations and all types of conditions. The big bonus of fishing a jig with a trailer is that it makes a good thing even better. Jig trailers give jigs even more bass catching power and a whole lot more appeal. Can jigs catch bass if not fully dressed with a trailer? Why, heck yeah, you bet they can. But for one to really do its stuff, you need to dress it for even more success by adding a trailer. So today, I'd like to take you fishing and guide you through some tips that'll not only stress the importance of using a trailer, but also I hope that'll help you with your jig fishing. So, with that said, tell you what, let's get this thing in the water and go fishing, okay? Okay. There's no doubt the various colors on the market today also add eye appeal to your jig and help them more easily grab the bass's attention. For example, in stained water, you might try a brighter colored trailer, so it has to stand out. It's a quick fix to help you increase your strike-catch ratio, and that's just one example on how we're not as limited as we once were. You know, I'm not saying that the old pork chunks won't still catch fish, but these new trailers, well, they're better designed, they have tremendous action, they're less messy, they're cheaper, and they certainly add a tremendous amount of buoyancy than the old pork chunks. Remember the old pork chunks, you let them stay out, they got dry, and they look like a Frito after you left them out for a little while. Another thing, I don't know if the old pork chunks are still around, even if they still sell them. I know Uncle Josh was one of the last companies to have pork. I'll be honest, I didn't even know I had one. Well, I did know I had one, but I never felt him hit it. I just felt resistance. Come here, you pretty little thing, you. You liked it too, didn't you? Pretty. That is one right there. Oh yeah. Look at that hard pulling fish. Oh yeah, look at that, man. Look at that tugboat. Whoa! There's some big fish right there. I am telling you right now. Come here there. Look like a little tugboat. Man, you fooled me. Oh yeah, fight on. That'll wear you down. You like that little railer, don't you? Like that little elite jig. Look at that jig. Hooks them. Yes it does, look at that. A pretty little bait. You talking about a pretty fish. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Fat. Fooled you, didn't I? like this. Clear water will grow fish, but green water will grow them faster. Good fertile water.
Bill Dance Outdoors is sponsored in part by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Rebel, catch fish anywhere. And by Mercury Marine, go boldly. Today's conditions log is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly.
Whoa! So what about selecting the size of the trailer? Well, it is true, bigger trailers do provide more disturbance and they draw more attention while also making for a slower fall. Now, if you're fishing a lake with a lot of small bass, you might want to use a smaller trailer. But if you're fishing a lake that's got a lot of big fish, well, you want to go with a larger trailer. But as I said, this one here is 3.5 inches long, but you can easily trim it down to the size you desire for the jig you might be fishing. Another tip: in warmer water, you'll tend to want more action. After all, fish are typically more active in warmer temperatures, so you'll want to use a trailer with a lot of lifelike action during that time when prey naturally displays a higher level of movement. I got one right there. Oh, he's already, ow! Woo! Boy, I felt him hit it. He knocked the fire out of it. I'm gonna tell you another one that hadn't missed any meals too. That looks like me. Say, for me. Look at that little man alive. Look at the stomach on that little fish. Now, look at that. She's nice and fat. Yes, you are. Woo! Boy, was that not fun. Man. Excuse me, what were we talking about a minute ago? Oh yeah, trailers. Let me tell you what, that's why I like these trailers right here. They've got a tremendous amount of action. I mean, just with the slightest amount of movement. Even when I'm pulling or swimming it horizontally over and through submerged cover. I mean, just the slightest amount of movement. These little tails just kick and move. Cold water, I mean, I fish them a lot in the wintertime. But this trailer provides a tremendous amount of excellent lifelike action at no matter what speed you retrieve it, fast or slow. Now, some trailers tend to get overloaded and they don't perform worth a hoot if you're not fishing them at the precise speed, in other words, the right presentation. And that's not the case with that Swimming Elite chunk. It creates great movement at any speed. I mean, it's a good little bait. It's tough up here, fits on a jig. We fished it just with a lead head sometimes. You could rig it. I've even done shows with it and fished it and had great success with it, just rigging it Texas rig. But it's a good little bait and comes in a lot of different colors. All right, let me get back up here and get to work again. All I'm doing is just kind of fan casting this long point that's coming out way over here to my right. It just comes out, drops off deep on that side, drops off deep on this side, comes out, makes a hook this way. I'm power pole back up on the back of it. There's suspended fish between me where I am right now and that point, and there's suspended fish on the other side, and they're coming up on the point. I think that's what they're doing.
Today's show is sponsored in part by Quantum Rods and Reels, Mystic Lubricants, Lubrication Domination, and Tracker Boats, fish the finest. Today's equipment log is brought to you in part by Fish Defunk. It keeps your hands scent-free and clean so fish can't smell you. Use Fish Defunk unscented while fishing and Fish Defunk scented after fishing to remove all odors. Today's show is sponsored in part by Stren, the standard of dependability since 1958. Lure Lock, turning the tackle world upside down. And Garmin, fight your fish, not your fish finder.
If there was ever a perfect bait for bass, it would have to be the jig. It's versatile and universal and appeal to a bass. Sure, it's nothing complex, nothing more than a lead head and a single hook and a weed guard. But jigs are loaded with options like size, style, and whatever else can make it better in the eyes of bass. Now, do bass know the difference between a $2.50 and a $5 jig? Well, maybe not, but you want a quality one that lasts. And knowing how to efficiently fish a jig is a technique that will make all anglers better. Be the weekend warrior or bass pro. There he is. Whoa, that is a big one right there. I'm fishing a Quantum smoke rod with a Quantum 100 series reel. And this little rod is a medium heavy. You look at the tip. You see that tip? It bends at about 20% off the top of that rod. And right through here is all backbone. It telegraphs the feel of that bait all the way down through here. It's extremely sensitive. It's got a lot of backbone for a good hook set. This rod, it's a smoke series by Quantum. It's extremely lightweight and super sensitive. Come here, you big horse. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Oh, don't jump off, don't jump off. Let me just touch you. Oh boy, look. Oh, wow. Boy. Man, he had it. Oh, look at that little bait and that big old fish. I jerked back on that fish. I thought I had a porpoise. All right, baby. Time to go home. Whew. See ya. Whew. Boy. Boy, boy, boy. You know, there are few negative cues involved when it comes to fishing jigs. And again, versatility is a big, big deal. These things, you know, I think they imitate crawfish, shad, or bluegill. I don't know what else they could imitate. And it simply depends on how you dress them up and you retrieve it. That's really what it boils down to. You can creep it along on the bottom. You can use it as a swim bait. I guess when you crawl it on the bottom, it looks like a crawfish. When you swim it along or through the water column, it looks like a shad or it looks like a bluegill. And that has a lot to do with the way you dress them up. Sure, it has a single hook, which in some aspects outperforms baits with a treble hook. Many claim jigs are best during the tougher times to fish, example during the winter months. But in reality, you know, you can catch fish on a jig 12 months of the year in most water conditions. Now, plastic worms may outperform a jig in the warmer months of summer, but even when matched up at this time, when a worm might catch more, the jig will still catch bigger fish. No matter where a bass lives, if it's a river, a creek, a lake, or a pond, you can still catch them with a jig. Whoopee! You little tough nut, you. Get you cut yourself up there in that water. Oh, another fat one too. Oh, I'm telling you, the fish are fat. They are fat. Look at that. Man, nice fish. Oh, fat. I mean, fat. Ta-ta. The Bill Dance Question and Answer of the Week is brought to you by Mystic Lubricants and their complete line of JT4 marine products. A full line of products for your full line of pursuits. Visit mysticlube.com today. Bill, there are a lot of braids on the market. Why do you like Stren's braided line? Well, this one has 8 interwoven braids, all connected to one, with exceptional strength. It doesn't flatten out, and it creates exceptional sensitivity and abrasion-resistant qualities in a line that also has tremendous castability, and I really like that.
Today's show is sponsored in part by Millennium Marine, a new class of comfort, and Motor Guide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. Closed captioning provided by Power Pole, the original shallow water anchor. Today's product tip is brought to you by Garmin and their GPS map series, chart plotter sonar combos. With advanced sonar technology like Chirp and exclusive Panoptix all-seeing sonar, you'll spend less time finding your fish.
Hey, you been looking for a tackle box that's tougher than a pine knot? Well, I've got one. Look at this. It's called Lure Lock. Heavy-duty handles, hinges, and trays and insert dividers. So rugged and tough. Watch this. See what I mean? A fine product. Lure Lock. Get you one.
Come be a part of Bill Dance Digital. Join us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Follow us.
There he is, right there. Oh, right there's another horse. You know, the most crucial thing to know about fishing a jig is that jigs, like plastic worms, creature baits, they're all feel baits. And if you want to catch more bass with it, you've got to feel the strike. You've got to be aware of what that bait is doing from the time it leaves your rod tip to the time it gets back. You've got to feel what it's doing. Every time it hits something, if it hits a rock, if it hits a log, if it's climbing up over something, as it falls back, you've got to be aware of what it's doing at all times. Basically, you want to be able to interpret a bass strike 100% of the time. And remember, fishing a jig, that strike could occur at any time. Get that jig out of your face. The particular jig we're using today is made by Bass Pro Shops, and it's one of their Enticer Pro jigs. It weighs 1/4 ounce, and what I really like about it is its football-shaped head that keeps the hook elevated. And that's really important for the type of cover that we're fishing today. It also has a really sharp hook of premium quality with a heavy-duty recessed eye, and it helps reduce snags and hang-ups in a mighty big way. And of course, riding shotgun, we have a trailer. This one is Bass Pro Shops Swimming Elite Chunk, and it's 3.5 inches long and comes in 6 colors. And it's one of the most effective trailers I've come across in a mighty long time. It has crawfish arms that pulsate, swim, and flap with even the slightest movement. And when it comes to an extension to the jig, it gives the bait a more streamlined look, which is naturally appealing. It also adds buoyancy, which allows for greater lift when retrieved and ensuring a slower fall. This means you can work it extremely slow while presenting greater action and more lifelike appearance. I got another good one. You know, when selecting colors for my jigs and trailers. I like to use a lot of black and blue and black and chartreuse in water with some color to it. In clear water, I like to use a lot of green pumpkin. And I don't always want my jig to resemble a crawfish. Sometimes I may go to a bluegill color scheme. Now, on first glance, that may seem like my jig and trailer color combinations really don't match at all. For example, a green pumpkin jig with a black trailer, or maybe a green pumpkin and orange, that may work good. Still, you'd be surprised how good these things, they look in the water. They do. They look real good in the water. Either way, a mismatch many times can entice more strikes. Woo! I'm gonna buy me a case of these baits. Look at that big fish right there. What a fish. Oh man. I'm gonna get me a bunch of these. Look at that. Gorgeous. Look at that. Well, in closing, there's no doubt about it. You create a winning combination when adding a trailer to your jig. They're just going to catch more fish when you pair these two together. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.
Thanks for watching Bill Dance Outdoors. Join us here again next week.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.